Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. John Michael Salvato, and you're watching Monday Mindshift. It is our peak performance blueprint daily program. This is the Monday focus. Our Monday focuses are always on mindset and different mind shift strategies that we can take so that we can just, better improve our performance in every aspect of our lives. And, today the topic was this Monday morning blues. Is it an urban legend, or is it a real problem? And so I really encourage you guys, if you haven't done so, to go and check out the blog, because you'll get a lot of the background on this. But essentially, that there are so many people who say that they suffer from the Monday morning blues, and I couldn't help but share a link to a video by Mississippi John Hurt, one of the great blues legends, who says, "I woke up this morning, Monday morning blues. I could hardly find my shoes." And that's what I think about when I hear these people saying, "Oh, it's Monday," and posting their pictures of their sad cats and Garfield and everything on Monday. And there's all kinds of cures that are supposedly out there. They tell you if you go to bed earlier or you take a cold shower on Monday morning, you get rid of the blues. But psychologists tell us that there's really about 4 mental factors that contribute to 85 to 90, I think 90% of the feeling of dreading Monday mornings. And so first, I wanted to just mention those and then talk about the ways that can affect you. The first thing is, of course, is that your job may no longer be workable. Many factors like unreasonable demands. Maybe your company is in financial trouble, having financial issues. According to recent studies, unreasonably long hours for people over 40, an 8-hour workday, could play a role in dreading going back to work, because they indicate, these studies show that people who are over the age of 40 should be working 4 to 5 hours a day for peak performance and optimal health. And they show that people over 40 can accomplish as much in 4 to 5 hours as the average worker can do in eight hours anyway. So your body knows if you're pushing the limits, and what's going to happen is your cortisol levels are going to increase. You begin to feel stressed. You begin to feel out of sorts. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mute everybody out, because this background noise is just not acceptable. Unmuting yourself, because it's creating a problem. Unmute yourself when you're ready to talk. The second reason that they say are one of the mental factors for people feeling that Monday morning blues is that maybe their job just sucks. There are some people who just hate their jobs. They hate having to go to an environment that they're emotionally and physically loath to go into, and that's going to take a toll on you. And kind of hand in hand with that is sometimes you've lost your perspective. Sometimes the hours, the demands, the stress of your job can distract you from the reason that you took the job in the first place. What was it that made you so excited about taking a position with your company? Whether that company is a job or that company's a business opportunity, what changed to make that excitement die out? Society often confuses the idea between your job and your career path or your vocation. Sometimes a job was just a temporary solution to a financial situation we're in. We might have taken the job to provide immediate income for our immediate needs. But ultimately, we hope to create something that's more long-term. We hope to create something that that is in alignment with our personal values and our dreams and our joys. And the problem arises that we often get so caught up in that, trying to cover those financial needs, that we forget that was supposed to be a temporary fix, and we end up getting stuck in what was supposed to just be a temporary stop on the journey. And as a result of that, we start to dread Mondays, and we dread Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays. And the fourth reason that psychologists tell us is that persons have become unevenly yoked. The ancient wisdom tells us that the great Palestinian teacher instructed his students, whenever you go to a place that's not of good accord, leave that place and shake every speck of dust from your sandals. Now, the idea behind that was that the speck of dust was like a toxic relationship, a place that was not of accord with your primary values, or your core values. And that speck of dust could become a blister. And if that blister was left unattended, the blister could become infected, and it could make it impossible to continue your journey. It could even cost you your leg or your life. And so toxic relationships are the same way. Toxic relationships have that same impact on our journey, have same impact on our ability to perform at peak levels. And so I think my perspective on this is that the Monday morning blues is just a symptom of something else that's going on in our lives, you know. And so what I want to encourage us to do today is if you found yourself getting up this morning with the Monday morning blues, you found yourself dreading going to work, or maybe you have a business, a home business, and you were dreading the fact that it's another week, I'm going to have to try and get enrollments, I'm going to have to try and sell product, I'm going to have to try and reach my next level or my next rank or whatever it happens to be. Ask yourself what it is about that situation that you dread. Find out what the real cause is. It's probably not just the going to the job or going to the business. You have to kind of back up a little bit and say, why is it that I originally took that job? Why is it that I originally got involved with that company? You know, in the home-based business industry, so many times I talk to entrepreneurs and they say, you know, I dread Mondays because it means another week of having to deal with my sponsor, asking me how many people did I talk to today, asking me how many enrollments did I get, and I just feel like the pressure is going to make me crack. And, you know, to those people, I say, well, why did you originally join that company? You know, what was it that drew you to that company? Sometimes the answers are just astounding. People say, well, you know, my sponsor told me that it was a system that was going to grow for me. All I had to do was sign up, and they were automatically going to help me get customers, and they were going to help me do this. And they interpreted the words help me get customers to mean that somebody else was going to do the work for them. And so they had unrealistic expectations, and maybe the sponsor misled them. Maybe the verbiage was unclear, that what they were doing was a business. Last night I had a conversation with a good friend of mine who was involved in another company where the leaders of that team said, hey, we're going to close the business for you. We're going to do the presentations for you. But what they told their organization to do was to run help wanted ads. So people were calling in expecting to get a 9-to-5 job. They were expecting to get a salary, you know, or an hourly wage. And so that was a complete disaster. Not only were they misleading people, but the people who were supposed to be closing the business were absolutely among the most inept and unethical people I've ever personally met, and I knew them personally. So it was a disaster. So she said, you know, I'm really hesitant about letting somebody else close business for me, and that's a legitimate concern. My response to somebody like that is, well, you know, if you're hesitant about letting someone else close business for you, then get to work and start closing the business yourself. You know, if things are going to change, you have to do something different. You know, Jim Rohn would say, for things to change, you got to change. For things to get better, you've got to get better. If you hate your job, if you hate your 9-to-5 job or whatever your schedule is, change it. You know, and don't just walk away and say, okay, John Michael told me if I hate my job, I should change it, so I quit. You know, treat your life as though you were starting a business. You know, if you were opening up a salon, you were opening up a restaurant, you would have a business plan. You know, so many people put more effort into planning their vacations than they do planning their lives. And so my recommendation for you today is to make that mind shift, to say, you know, the day of the week doesn't matter. If I'm dreading that day, I need to get to the root cause of why I'm dreading Mondays, or why I'm dreading Tuesdays, or why I'm dreading opening up my laptop, why I'm dreading dealing with my sponsor. And I can tell you, I've been there. Even as a top producer, there have been people that I've partnered with in this industry whom I used to dread answering the phone when they called, because they were high pressure, high hype, high, you know, what are you doing today? How many people you talked to today? And I didn't need somebody calling me up and holding my hand or hammering me on how many calls did I make and how I have to be accountable to them, because I was outperforming them. You know, they would sign people up who didn't place orders. They would sign people up who were gone in 30 days. I was signing people up where I had an 89% to 92% retention rate, and where the people's average order was 4 times what his average order was. So I understand that feeling of sometimes when you just dread working with somebody, it's because the relationship's toxic or it's not a good fit. So I want to encourage you guys to take this time this week to make sure that you are engaged and you do enjoy what it is that you're doing, whether that's a job, whether that's a hobby, whether that's an investment strategy, a home business opportunity, and then connect with the people who lift you up, who support you. I recently did that with my own home business by connecting with some people that I just find great joy in connecting with on a daily basis. And so I'm working with those people, and it doesn't mean that I didn't like any of the other people that were in my upline support team. It just meant that I had a greater connection and resonated with the people who approach business the way I approach business. So that's my story for today. That's what I have to share. If you guys have anything that you want to comment on that, anything you want to share, let's go ahead and hear from you and hear your comments. Anybody at all?
Me.
Gentlemen,
Okay.
just going back to that last video that I watched, you discussed about opening up a group for yourself. I've been giving that some thought, and coming up with a concept is kind of a little bit iffy for me. Trying to nail something down that would be concrete. Any suggestions?
Yeah, absolutely. When we're done here, let's continue that conversation, and we can chat back and forth, either on video chat or by Facebook chat, either one, and let's talk about that because for those who don't understand what John's talking about, who might not be part of our primary business, I suggested that one of the best ways that you can increase engagement is to find something you're passionate about. For example, and if you don't mind my using your situation as an example, John, you've been involved in various types of investment, various types of business financing or investment financing, or it might be that a person has a background or a passion for for being a stay-at-home mom, or post-retirement income was something that I was thinking about personally doing. What do you do after being a physician for 19 years when you've decided to retire, but you still have crazy medical bills and you want to make sure that there's cash flow? The other thing, another good one for you, John, might even just be cash flow strategies, because so many times, I think you and I talked about this, people go out looking for investors for their great business idea, and they're not even remotely ready for an investor to give them the first dime because they haven't done their homework. And so they're expecting cash flow almost the way that welfare recipients expect welfare. And that's not a good cash flow strategy. Oh, hey, yeah, I need the money to do my business. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do my business. I don't know what my plan is. That might be a great way to bring some of your knowledge and expertise. Create a Facebook group that talks about I would say probably one of the best niches that I've ever had, and I could actually there's a group ready-made. I can hand it over to you if you were interested, and that's home business and cash flow for senior citizens. I've been running that group kind of very, very part-time and sporadically because I don't have the time to dedicate to it. But there are people out there who just that they're retired. They don't want to do a 9-to-5 job. They've looked at some of these home-based business opportunities that appear to them, and rightly so, like they're trading one job for the next. They don't want to work 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, and they're just looking for cash flow ideas, and they're also looking for a place where other folks that are our age and my age and older can say hey, I understand what it's like to be retired and know that you're not going to be able to live on your Social Security or your retirement income. but you also don't want to be tied to a desk or tied to your business 7 days a week, because these are the years we're supposed to be enjoying ourselves. So we'll talk about that afterwards, because I would love to hand that group over, and it's already got probably 75 to 100 people, I think, or maybe less than that, maybe 50 people that are a member of it already, because I haven't really promoted it. So I'd love to do that. And hello and welcome, Jennifer. So Jennifer, Ita, Katrina, any thoughts on this concept we've been sharing today? Jen, were you watching on the page?
No, unfortunately, I had a situation arise, and I've been on the phone for over an hour right now, so I'm a little out of the loop right now. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I have thoughts.
Okay, Katrina.
I need help. Is my main thought. As you know, my life situation, circumstance has made it very challenging to be able to create and sustain structure. And I realized that, and I became so frustrated with that at one point that I just kind of gave up. So I need to regain that ground if anything is going to change.
Sure.
So I would love your input, obviously not right now, but I'd love your input to help me put something in place that I can actually commit to and move forward with.
We'll definitely do that privately, but just kind of to kind of publicly address some general ideas for some other folks who might be watching this, who might feel the same way. They might feel a little bit stuck, a little bit trapped, a little uncertain. What's worked for me, and I can tell you that when I poured everything into my last business venture, which was a non-network marketing deal. It was a venture outside the industry with my business partner of 20 some years in the network marketing field. And this guy and I were going to do something in a technology related area, and technology and medicine related area. And we put 6-7 months of really intensive work. And when I say we, I mean me, really intensive work into the development of the application, the development of the ideas and everything else. And all of a sudden, the trophy wife came along and yanked the rug out from under us by, pitching some temper tantrums that he wasn't spending enough time with her and blah, blah, blah. And she ran off the two big money investors. And so I felt like just giving up. I had really put in 18, 19 hours a day for 6 months because it was a project I was very excited about. It's a project that insurance companies were telling me had a minimum $2 to $3 million exit strategy. If we did a half-assed job of building this company, that there was $2 to $3 million profit in it for us. And I just said, you know what, I've really had it. I was at a point where I had wanted to retire from network marketing because I didn't want to be, to be dealing with on a one-on-one basis with sales reps and the companies and the personalities and the politics. And this was my idea. This was my business venture. And so it struck me, it struck me very, very hard that, I'm getting too old for this crap, essentially. So what I would say is what I had to do was go back to what my motivation was. I didn't want to start this technology company because I wanted to start a technology company. Technology wasn't the interest. Technology was the vehicle. And looking at what my interest was in genuinely connecting with and helping other people, and in being able to really take a group of 50 to 100 sales reps and help them dramatically change their lives by cashing in on a service that very few other companies in the world are doing. Where there's only competition of maybe 5 companies in the world that are doing this, and where I knew that the industry, that medicine itself, was going in the next 5 years in a major way. So I said, okay, as I'm looking at that, that really kind of sounds like what I was doing for the last 37 years in network marketing. So maybe I need to take a look again. And so I talked to a couple network marketing companies, and I saw companies out there who had fantastic products and okay management, but their stories weren't always ethical, or their compensation plans were absolutely nightmarish. And again, I was ready to give up, and I just stayed the course. I continued to explore my options. I had to take it as every day I'm starting from scratch. And when I wasn't looking, and this is what I think, is I kind of sense is going to happen for you, Katrina. When I wasn't looking, was just kind of open to what the universe was going to throw on my plate today, and was willing to look at every option. I just happened to run across this guy on a social network who was selling a product that I used and that I needed. And I had no interest in their business because I looked at their business model 5 years ago and it wasn't for me. And this guy said, I want you to take a look at what we're doing. And I took a look at what they were doing, and I was intrigued by a portion of their business model that no longer, now this is only 50 days later, no longer really intrigues me. It's the rest of that business model that I saw the big money in, and that's what got me excited, and that's what got me to, to find my home. So in your case, Katrina, I would say that, that same kind of process is going to happen. We'll work together on helping explore what some of those options are, finding out what your core interests are, what brought you to do some of the things you've done in the past, including what you're doing now. And then we'll look for solutions within the realm of that. So we'll definitely talk. I think we're scheduled to talk sometime tomorrow. So I'll look forward to it. Tuesday. So I look forward to that. And if Tuesday's not good, just get back in touch with me and we'll change the schedule. Ita, I know you must have some insights. Are you there? I think we put Ita to sleep. Could be. It's only 5 o'clock there, 4:30. All right, guys. Well, are you there, Ita?
Hello, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Sorry, I have a gang of kids.
No problem.
That was the one, I think it was mine that you heard when I clicked in earlier. Yes, I'm just listening to everyone's trying to clamor to make appointments with you, which I need to do as well. Because obviously life gets in the way, and when you have the kids, well, in my case, when I have the kids, there's basically no structure to the daily activities except when the kids are at school. Is the only chance that I can, sit down and get some work done type of thing. But definitely the mindset is where, like I've been in the business I'm in now for about a year. And I've said this before. One of the ladies, she was speaking at a conference, and she joined the same month as me last year, and she has children, but her mindset of getting her head down and not letting anything else take her focus away from her business, and also, the children's routines and all that, they didn't get in the way of her getting her work done daily to get her to where she is in the company that I'm with at the moment. So when I saw that she has practically the same life as me, and yet she didn't let the routines of the other family members get in the way of stopping her from reaching where she wanted to be, that's when I sort of picked myself up and said, listen here, Isha, you excuse, because that's what it was. I was letting other people's routines come in and use them as an excuse for me not committing to doing a daily schedule, doing a weekly schedule, which I'm still in the process of doing. But there's simple little things that, the night before, writing down 6 things that you are going to get done the next day that's work related. It doesn't have to be, I have to do that at 2 o'clock, and I have to do that at 4 o'clock, I have to do that at 9 o'clock. It's basically getting those 6 done while you're still doing the daily routine around the family, around the children, around the housework and that sort of thing. But you still, the next night when you go to bed, you've got those 6 activities done. You don't go to bed until those 6 activities are done. And things like that, little hints and tips like that, that I found good in helping me to get my work activities done throughout the day.
Excellent. You know, I think if I could share something with you now, I'm not a parent in the traditional sense, but I've certainly gotten some really good input from some parents who have told me that, you know, it's one of the best things that they've done for their business, for their home business, was they were told by somebody once, either you're running your life or your life is running you. And for a couple of them, it was a matter of saying, you know, I'm the parent and it's up to me to create the structure. And so there are activities that could be done in the course of a day and I shared this with, I just shared this with somebody who has some children who actually happen to have ADHD. So getting them to sit still for 2 minutes is an accomplishment in and of itself. And we worked together on some ideas, some activities that the kids could do for 30 minutes. And by carving out 2 30-minute sections in the day with activities that the kids could do that were at a quieter roar than the normal roar, because let's face it, children are going to be children, and you're not going to get them to act like they're in church, you know, when they're home and it's playtime. But by creating some fun activities that were quiet, you know, one was a board game that they were able to play, a kind of a trivia kind of game that you know, that required them to be quiet and listen to one another. She not only was able to carve out 2 30-minute segments of time when she could actually work her business, but she said, "Oh my gosh, I never realized that this structure in the kids' lives was going to make them start listening to one another more." And the crazy thing for her was, she said, you know, dinner hour is more quiet, because instead of everyone talking at once, the kids have now begun to cultivate a habit of listening to one another and then speaking. And so she says they're actually engaging one another instead of talking over one another. So those are just some ideas I thought I would pass on. And I want to thank you guys for spending time here today. You know, anybody who, of course, who wants to schedule time to chat with me about any of these topics, you know that you can reach me, you know, either by email or on Facebook. You can also go to calendly.com/Dr. Salvato and schedule an appointment, or just get in touch with me on Facebook by Facebook Messenger, and I'll pull up my calendar and we'll pick some time when we can work on those things. For those of you that are watching on the recording, again, we do this on Monday through Friday. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is a live session like you're watching right now. If you're a member of the Peak Performance Blueprint, which you can find out more about that by going to barefootmillionairemastermind.com. There's a short video on there that explains how this program works. And if there's some interest there in being on the live panel, engaging in the live discussions on a daily basis, you can find out how to become part of the Peak Performance Blueprint community. Otherwise, we welcome you guys to just watch the replay, sort of watch as a you know, as from an outside point of view, and we look forward to your comments on the blog and your comments in our Facebook group as well. And at the end of every program, we encourage you, as we do all the time, to stay in the moment, to realize that happiness is the object and design of our existence, and that the point of power is always in the present moment. So stay in the present moment. Be grateful for what you've got, because that gratitude opens the door for the abundance that's waiting for you. And always remember, the best is yet to come. We'll talk to you soon.